All characters and events based in this podcast, even those based on real people, are entirely fictional. All celebrity voices are impersonated, poorly. The following program contains coarse language, and due to its content, it should not be listened to by anyone.
Technically, like,
this is Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
Yeah. This is their Thanksgiving special.
I forgot. And it, like, the only part that's actually Thanksgiving is with
well, there's
the
turkeys.
Canadians and the turkeys.
Yeah, there's turkeys. Turkeys are Thanksgiving. I think Thanksgiving is a good holiday.
Well, I just like the food and the days off.
Exactly. The food, there's 2 days, a full 4 days.
Yeah, that's pretty nice.
The food is the same as Christmas for the most part, but you get a pumpkin pie in there and the leftovers and everything. There's football.
Yeah.
And there is no obligation for a present to either receive or give.
Right.
It's beautiful.
It's just kind of hang out, eat food. So
yeah.
That's it.
It's a wonderful
Maybe
holiday.
Play a game.
It's a very underrated holiday.
Well, people don't like it. But
people don't like it?
Yeah, but I think that's just because of the history behind it, and people are like to shit on things like that.
Okay, well, yeah. The way that it works
today. Holidays nowadays are just like the Hallmark holidays, that's what I like to think about it as. It's like, well, nobody really... Do people actually celebrate it for the reason that it, like, became a thing? Probably not.
I'm talking about the traditions that you do.
Yeah, you're just talking about the traditions.
It's underrated in that regard. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, you get deals on consumer goods, all good things.
Oh yeah, that's true. Yeah.
It's no negatives. I would wager I might find Thanksgiving better than Christmas, only because of the fact that there's guaranteed football and there's the 4 days in a row, all of that stuff. They're gonna put football on Christmas, but football on Thanksgiving seems to go better. There was no. I guess you don't actually hit Thanksgiving in this episode. It's just around Thanksgiving.
I think it's just around. Which when they go all out to eat together, is that their Thanksgiving, or is that just them all eating together?
It's just all them eating together, I think.
Should we actually talk about the episode now?
Yeah, okay, all right. Hello, everybody. I'm Kevin.
I'm Rachel.
And this is Shelf Life, a podcast that always bets on Jesus and also goes through pop culture. Rachel went, yeah, that's all right. It goes through pop culture one at a time, be that any genre, movies, TV, books, comics, games, whatever else ChatGPT said we do, music, sports, or whatever, wrestling. And we determine whether or not the item and subject at hand belongs on your shelf. Today, Rachel, what are we talking about and continuing the discussion of from the last full Shelf Life episode? We took a little bonus there, break, to celebrate Halloween and come back. What are we doing today? What is up for contention to the shelf?
More of season 1.
Yeah, we just keep going.
just keep going. More of season 1 of South Park. Going back to Denver,
Correct.
Colorado.
South Park, Colorado.
I said Denver. Going back to South Park, Colorado.
Do that for. Otherwise, they fall under Shelf Life Selects, as Rachel has dubbed it, where we might want to cover parts of a television show, but we're not going to cover the whole thing. But South Park is an exception to the Shelf Life Selects rule. It gets the full Monty. Yeah, I don't know.
I don't know what the full one is. I don't know.
Yeah, something.
Yeah.
Anyway, Rachel, what episode are we doing today? Actually, I'll say the episode. You can tell us what it's about. So today we are covering episode 8 from season 1, which is Starvin Marvin.
Yes.
Rachel, what happens in Starvin Marvin?
Where's Marvin from?
Ethiopia.
He's Ethiopian?
Yep.
Okay. Is he really? I thought it was something else. It was with an N.
No, that's the last one, Nairobi. That's the candy that Wendy gave away to the Nairobi kids, but Starvin Marvin's from Ethiopia.
Okay. So Starvin Marvin is about the boys adopting a child from Ethiopia and showing them American traditions with food.
Yeah.
They wanted a watch, but they got a kid.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They wanted to watch, a kid came. And then there's a B plot to it, too, where these turkeys have been genetically engineered, and they've become self-aware of what happens to turkeys, I guess.
And they're becoming all powerful.
Yeah, they've decided to take back the power from the people.
Yes. It's the Thanksgiving episode of South Park.
Yes, it is the Thanksgiving. Happy Thanksgiving out there, everyone.
For those listening to the podcast for Thanksgiving. It's a seasonal podcast.
That's right. So hopefully you put your headphones on. There's a calamity going on in the kitchen.
Yeah, go
People
ignore your family.
The Lions are playing, or the Cowboys are playing. You're watching probably a shitty football game. Put your headphones on, listen to Shelf Life, talk about Starvin Marvin. Just as like a reprieve.
Yeah, give yourself a break and enjoy all the shenanigans today. But continue to, snack on some food. You got to get that food.
Absolutely. You got to get that food. As I said at the top, I do love Thanksgiving. It's a great holiday. Underrated in the top holidays list.
Interesting.
Yeah, it is. This episode came about, like we said, in our last, where we covered South Park. Mm-hmm. Comedy Central wanted more episodes quickly, and Matt and Trey were like, no, we can't do it that fast. So they said, we'll do holiday specials. So this was like the second of the holiday specials that they did, which was for Thanksgiving and Starvin Marvin. And like I told you, Rachel, I think they're hitting their groove at this point. They're really coming around of understanding what they can do with this world, who these characters are, and all of that kind of thing.
Yeah, it does feel that way. They're rounding everything out. They're starting to get stuff where they want it to be, and it's kind of fun to actually like go back and like analyze how that all is actually playing out.
So let's get right into it. This is Starvin Marvin. It was directed by Trey Parker, written by Trey Parker. It debuted on November 19th, 1997. So the episode first of all, I watched the DVDs as well, as your copy probably on the Max.
Yes.
So the DVD version always starts with them doing like a little bit before they get into the episode.
Okay.
Because it's
I always forget that it does do that. Yeah. What's their bit this time?
They're at a ranch and they're like doing like, oh, hello there, we're from the Old West, and they're doing like this like they're introducing like a 50s style Western.
Beautiful.
So yeah, it's a good little bit. The best part is at the end, Trey takes out like two little like those toy pistols that make the noise when you like click them.
Of course, yeah.
And they both like go like.
Oh, it's because they're scared of the
popping
away,
sound. And like Matt like puts his ears and then they go like and it doesn't like little and they like both jump.
Oh, that's kind of funny. That seems kind of on. That seems like real.
Yeah,
like
very on brand. Very on brand. The episode begins in earnest with the kids watching Terrence and Phillip, a Thanksgiving special for Terrence and Phillip. So again, they're putting themselves into the Terrence and Phillip show by having them have a Thanksgiving special. And Cartman's mom, they're all over at Cartman's house doing this, and then Cartman's mom walks in and asks them if they want cheesy poofs, and Cartman's like, get out of the way of the TV.
And of course
we
want cheesy poofs.
Yes. Which is repeated a lot in this episode. It almost becomes like a saying from South Park of, yeah, we want cheesy poofs. The sponsor for Terrence and Phillip is one of those commercials. You still get them. You get them watching South Park, actually, a lot. For the ASPCA, especially.
Oh, yeah, sure.
About starving people and starving kids in Africa. So the sponsor for Terrence and Phillip happens to be this Starving Kids in Africa commercial. Which makes sense, because you get them a lot around the holidays.
Yeah. For
the folks at home that aren't from the U.S. Although I don't know. I honestly don't know if, like, do you get this around the globe?
That's true.
Because, I mean, in a lot of quote-unquote first world countries or Western culture countries, I could see this being a thing.
Yeah.
But I am kind of curious, in your Australias, your
Is it
Japans, your
pushed?
Europes, yeah, is it like the same way where, because we get that, like, donate, they're trying to make you feel guilty. Essentially,
it's pretty much because a lot of the times they'll put the sad music. They want you to look at the sad children. And I mean, it's understandable. It is a horrible thing that's happening, right? So they're trying to make you feel guilty and want to donate something to help.
But I do wonder if this plays slightly differently for people outside of the U.S.
Oh yeah,
because,
I'd be kind of curious.
Yeah, of how it's definitely a thing in the U.S.
Oh yeah.
So at the time, I don't know if she does this anymore. So they make fun of Sally Struthers in this. So apparently, I don't remember this, but apparently it was a thing. And I guess it was a thing, like, because it was real. Sally Struthers was in these commercials with kids from Ethiopia, different parts of Africa. And Trey and Matt thought that it looked very hypocritical or just, like, amusing to them or, like, ridiculous because she's a bigger lady, or was a bigger lady.
Right.
And she's like talking about how there's not any food here and no one has anything to eat. And it's so like their point was like,
and she's probably like all dolled up and she looks really healthy, and then she's like around all these kids.
She's a big lady.
Like not healthy, but you know what I mean, like
yeah. Yeah. So I guess their point is like, maybe you should do a voiceover, because if you're like talking about all these emaciated people and you look fat, it looks stupid. Oh, yeah, for sure. Yeah, see, doesn't it look strange?
It's a little odd. Yeah.
She looks like she does in the show a little bit. Obviously they do exaggerate.
Yeah, they make her morbidly obese and go nuts with it, but it is kind of silly.
She's wearing like a 5-piece suit.
She's got like this blazer
kids.
on, and she's larger, so she's larger especially next to like these kids and everything. Yeah. But it is kind of silly. I think they even made fun of her on like Saturday Night Live and stuff too. So it's like it's probably a thing. It's probably like she's a joke, I think, at that point.
So Sally Struthers was also I think she was in All in the Family. I think she goes back to the 70s when it comes to sitcoms.
Okay.
I think Stan says she doesn't look like she's having any trouble finding food there or something like that.
Something.
So they really let her get it. Apparently, according to Matt and Trey, they heard this, that Sally Struthers was a fan and she was very upset that they made fun of her. I think in particular she was upset that they made of what they did at the end of the episode where she's hoarding the food from the Africans.
Yeah, because it's like, well, that's actually opposite of what I'm trying to do.
It's probably tough. It's South Park. So, like, you have to understand that they're going to make
fun of you, but it kind of sucks still when you're actually trying to do something good and then people, like, shit on you for it. Yeah. So, I mean, yeah.
I think you kind of have to take it out, with some...
Yeah,
because I think the problem is...
I would be afraid of them making fun of me, but still.
Yes. But I think the problem is, like, otherwise they're just going to give it to you harder. Like, I think when they realize that it made her mad or upset or whatever, she comes back in the sequel to this episode and it's worse.
Yeah.
I don't know. At the same time, like, 20 years later, they have PewDiePie actually in the episode, and it's like, you're South Park. You should be making fun of PewDiePie, which
they probably did, though, in the episode, didn't
do with Cartman, but at the same time, they, like, let PewDiePie like get the last word. We'll get to that maybe.
I've never seen that episode.
Yeah, I mean it's one of the newer ones. The more
How is it like newer? Because like he hasn't done that
like
shit for like years now. He pretty much like retired from doing that kind of stuff.
It's like 2016 is still modern.
Oh, okay. I guess that's a few years ago at this point. It's like almost a decade ago.
Whatever.
That's interesting, though. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I feel like they still make fun of people, but I guess when they have them on the show, they kind of hold back. Is that what you're trying to say?
I guess. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, they don't have a lot of guest stars. Because, like, they even say, like, that was the... Speaking of, so we can probably... That's a good segue into this. The subplot, which we'll get into, is about the turkeys running amok. Jerry Seinfeld had called into the studio and said that he'd be interested in doing a voice. Apparently he was like a fan of the show and wanted to do a voice. As we've already discussed, like George Clooney played Sparky
Yeah.
and just did dog noises. So they were like, oh, well, we're going to come up with this show with, like, a bunch of turkeys. Like, it'd be funny if you just did the noises of the turkeys. So we would say, like, Seinfeld, sorry,
Yeah.
but he would just be doing turkey noises. His agent didn't like that idea.
Well, of course, but I bet Seinfeld was probably like, whatever. Like,
well, that's what they did. That's what they said. They didn't even know if it ever got back to Jerry
because of the
Jerry called them. They were like, well, we'll come up with an idea. Like, we'll pitch you an idea, and it only ever got to the agent, and the agent said no. So they don't. They were like, we don't even know if Jerry Seinfeld ever even heard what it was supposed to be.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah.
Because I have a feeling if he was, like, just a fan of the show and they, like, even said, well, like, so-and-so, George Clooney did the dog, like, you can be the turkey. He'd probably like, all right, so you just do weird animal noises when you're a guest instead of actually being something.
Yeah.
I think he probably would have been like, all right, and then probably came up with something and made it sound goofy and maybe Seinfeld-ish. I don't know how I would gobble gobble as a Seinfeld, but, just...
Gobble gobble!
Yeah, there you go. There it is.
Whoa, 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 whoa.
There it is. That's it. I like it.
Eventually
the bee
became a
movie, it's
bee.
the turkey movie.
Yeah, exactly. So, anyway, Seinfeld could have been in this, but he is not. During the commercial, they say that if you sponsor a child, you'll get a digital sports watch for free.
Yeah.
And the kids are like, awesome, we've got to get this.
Right.
So Stan says he'll call because he knows his mom's credit card number. It's for like $5 too, so it's not breaking the bank here. Like they're not
right. It's not too.
They're not like ruining
is it $5 a month or is it like just $5 period?
I think it's more like you'd
like
sign up to do
thing.
$5 a month and do it monthly. Yeah.
That would make sense. The whole time that they're like talking about it and getting ready to call and everything, they're just like yelling at each other. I just think it's funny that they just they're like
they're like little
they're just kids like yelling at each other when they're trying to get this watch. It's like shut up, shut up, I'm calling.
Yeah, and that's part of that essence of Matt and Trey being like those little kids are little jerks,
right?
And they act like little jerks to each other. So
it's just I would think that the person on the phone too would have been like either put a parent on the phone or I'm hanging up. Like
yeah, they don't care if they get that $5.
I guess
They're
that's
fine.
True.
Stan says they want to adopt one of those African kids to get the watch. And he doesn't say sponsor like
no,
they
he
say
does
sponsor.
Adopt.
He does say adopt. So I think it's clever and or they didn't mean to do it, but it worked.
I think the whole idea is like with the animal ones, you adopt the animal. You can adopt a tiger, you can adopt a bear, and they kind of give you like the tracking number and whatnot for like that one that you adopted, quote unquote.
Right.
So I think he was like in his head goes adopt the African child instead of sponsor.
Right. Yes.
That's where I went with that one, but
no, I agree, and it can go over your head if you're just kind of like watching it passively.
Mm-hmm.
But when you know what the plot or like what's coming, it's like, oh, that's interesting. I wonder if that's why that happened.
Why the person got confused and was like, oh, they're
because
adopting
they
it.
literally thought they wanted to adopt a kid.
Yeah. So then, do you think it was still $5?
It's a hell of a deal on a kid.
That's what I'm
for the folks at home going through the adoption process. It's probably a hell of a deal.
I would have. Oh my
god!
Seriously.
I think it probably was still $5 because at no point does Sharon ever yell at Stan for using the credit card.
I guess that's true. Yeah. Because otherwise they probably would have been like, oh, the adoption fee is this much, and like the sponsorship fee is this. And they say
it was a mix-up.
It was
a
mix-up.
They definitely do say it was a mix-up.
True. So it's still $5. Yeah, that's actually pretty great.
Yeah.
Good job. Good job, kid from Africa.
Getting that kid.
You gotta go on a free trip, pretty much.
Cartman called Stan a vas deferens at one point.
Yes, that was one of the insults. None of them knew what that
was, so Kenny had to explain it to them.
I love that Kenny always explains the words they don't understand.
Yes. He knows all about adult
things.
Terminology. Yeah. At school, the kids are ready to get the watch. They're like hyped up to get it. And Garrison tells them they're doing a canned food drive and asks the kids what a canned food drive is. And Cartman explains... Cartman...
I love this line. This is such a good line by Garrison, though, but go on.
Cartman explains the cesarean section.
For whatever
I don't know
reason.
why he got them mixed up.
A canned food? I still don't understand.
I think this was kind of a running bit they would do from time to time where Cartman would
just
explain
say something random.
Random,
yeah,
compared to what it was supposed to be.
To honor this special time of year, we'll be doing a canned food drive. Does anybody know what a canned food drive is? Yes, Eric?
When they cut up a chick's stomach to get a baby out?
No, that's a cesarean section, Eric, but that's okay. Remember, there are no stupid questions, just stupid people.
Just stupid people.
I love that.
Yeah. Again, that could be I don't know if that was on a t-shirt. That could be on a t-shirt. That could have been Garrison's slogan when he ran for president.
That really could have been.
That
would have been a great bring back. That would have been great.
Yeah. Cartman at some point, because like they go back and forth about how it's for the poor people in the town, mainly Kenny's family, and they're going to try to gather cans of food for them.
Right.
And Cartman asks why poor people smell like sour milk.
Yeah. And Garrison just kind of gets like confused.
He's just like I don't know.
I don't know.
Kyle smells Kenny though to see if he does smell like sour milk.
Right.
Rachel, in your history, do poor people smell like sour milk?
It's a very odd question, and I'm going to just.
She was like, I am going to not answer that question.
No.
Folks at home that are poor. What do you smell like? Do you smell like sour milk? It's like a Howard Stern bit. What do you smell like?
It does feel like a Howard Stern bit. I'm out. I'm out of this. Oh God. I don't want to be a part of that.
Oh, she's walking away again. Rachel's walking away from the.
Get out of here.
She's walking out of the studio. No, she's walking right out of the studio. I don't know what we're gonna do. Time is 6:58. We're getting ready for the news.
I didn't know how long you wanted me to just be gone and then I come back later.
So anyways, Wendy speaks up and she's lamenting the fact that none of them care about poor people. This is like the time of year where they're supposed to do something for the poor and they're supposed to do something nice. Cartman and Wendy then go back and forth, and I picked up on it about like the third line because I was like, oh, Cartman's just being an ass, being like, what about my taxes? And then I realized, like, after Wendy replies and Cartman goes back, I'm like, are they doing a Christmas Carol? And they are, because then Mr. Garrison's like, okay, kids, that's enough Dickens for one day. So they're just doing a Christmas Carol back and forth.
Oh, that's funny.
Yes. But, like, those first couple lines, it's like, oh, Cartman's just being, like, a conservative, cynical kind of guy, where he's like, yeah, and Wendy's being the liberal, like, do-gooder. You know what I mean? Like, they're...
Sure.
But then when you realize it's like, oh, this is just a Christmas Carol.
That's great. I like it. Good job. Good job sneaking that one in.
Yeah, definitely.
I just realized the alphabet is weird.
No, it's going forward one direction, it's going backwards the other direction, just so they can have an FU joke.
That's... Oh my god.
Yeah.
I didn't... Oh my god.
Yeah.
Seriously? All right. Threw me off for a second there.
Before Garrison can continue his lesson about who does he say lands on the moon first?
Engelbert Humperdinck?
Engelbert Humperdinck.
Is that what it says?
Yeah, I think it does.
Engelbert Humperdinck. Yeah, that's... Yep, that's the name.
Okay, okay. He is a singer.
What?
I don't know what he did. I really don't. He's like a British singer from like back in the day. Like I think he's like old as hell at this point. So according to this, he did Spanish Eyes, Strangers in the Night, Wonderland by Night. So I mean, there are stuff that
they're
probably
always
do
just
know.
Randomly making fun of like musicians and stuff because they like music. They're musical people, but it's just funny when they just like throw a random musician
and throwing
or band.
the name Engelbert Humperdinck in there is as the first man that landed on the moon.
Yep.
But before he can get into this lesson, the turkeys storm into the room. They tear stuff up. And they just leave. It's like a shakedown. They come in to like and don't mess with us anymore.
Mess with stuff and like. Yeah, they rip the poster with the turkey on it that says "Eat Turkey."
Yeah, exactly.
Mm-hmm.
The mayor wants to do something clever to distribute the cans, and they're trying to come up with something that they can do that'll be fun and festive. And Mephisto shows up, saying he was medically
More
engineering.
Mephisto.
he was medically engineering turkeys,
Of course he was.
but so that they could be bigger or to feed the
I think it was like
homeless
to
or
feed
something.
more people for Thanksgiving or something. Yeah.
Well, because like, he ends up saying is like that they're multiplying and they're growing at a rapid rate, so he must have been like
Right.
trying to grow them bigger.
Yeah.
But they broke free and they're really pissed off. And he's trying to explain the situation, but she thinks he's a nut because he is.
Right.
So she keeps spinning the chair around to insult him,
Right.
and then kind of turns back to listen to him more. At some point, Mephisto is like, I don't think that you're taking me very seriously.
Well,
Which is
he
true.
did pick up on that one. Yeah.
The boys go to Cartman's to get the watch, but it isn't there yet. So they watch more Terrence and Phillip, the next part of the Thanksgiving special.
Of course.
At this point, the doorbell rings, and the watch isn't there. It's just a little Ethiopian kid
Yep.
and a suitcase.
Yeah. He's got a little suitcase and everything.
I kind of want to know what was in that suitcase. Like, what did Starvin Marvin bring with him?
I don't
Pictures?
know. Maybe. Yeah. Maybe something where it's just like, things from home.
Something
he
of
doesn't
sentimental value.
Yeah, so he doesn't feel like
Yeah.
I was
Homesick.
stolen away from my home.
Well, he looks all happy about
Yeah,
it.
he's kind of maybe
he's
he's like excited about the trip. That's true.
Yeah. So they ask him for his name. He responds in that Ethiopian. I can't remember what language it is, where it's like the clicks
Ooh.
and stuff.
The clicks, I'm not sure. There's a lot of different languages in Africa, so it's like really difficult to.
Yeah. But I mean, it's not a real language. It's them.
Right. Again.
Like you said with the German stuff. It's like they're just and Russian stuff. They're just making.
They make
up
yeah, they're just
stuff.
mimicking the sound of the language to make fun of it.
Right.
Yeah.
But they think he said his name is Marvin. So they're like, Starvin Marvin, that's his name. And they name him Starvin Marvin. They greet him. They shake his hand. Cartman asks his mom if they can keep him. And she says, sure. So then the boys make arrangements to share him. They're all going to, like, take him for a week.
I love
at
that
a
they're
time.
just like excited about it. Like, we got a kid. This is fun.
And
like,
they're treating him like a dog, essentially.
pretty much.
Like, they're kind of saying, like, we'll all take him for 1 week, but not Kenny because he's too poor. So he can't raise another kid. I can tell Rachel's looking for that Ethiopian language.
The clicking noise is like the one that actually it's like a throat noise that they can make. I don't.
Yeah.
It's like
I
impossible.
think you
for
have
us.
to. Yeah, you have
it's
to.
It's made in the back of their
learn it.
throat, but it's the I'm not gonna say it right. Kosan. Khoisan. It's KHOISAN languages, and it's like a ton of different that's like the embodiment of
That's
those
the
like
type of
types of
language?
language. Yeah, where it's
Okay.
like coming from the throat.
Yeah.
The click consonants is what it's called. So it's very interesting to me. But yeah. Now I'm like, I could go down a rabbit hole like learning about this stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, so that one's that one. It says it's almost impossible to imitate it for an English speaker.
Yeah, because our voices just were not formed to be able to do that.
Yeah.
Right? They do a pretty good job of it. Like, it sounds like something.
It sounds similar. It sounds like
Yeah.
similar to how we would probably like hear it.
Hear it, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm sure, again, it's probably gobbledygook, but
Oh,
like,
of course, yeah.
at least is getting that idea. Like, if you did French and you did or whatever,
Yeah.
like, it's the same idea. There's a couple at Stark's Pond that are on, like, some sort of date or walk or something, and they get attacked by the turkeys.
random. Oh, isn't
It's-
it beautiful? Ah, yes, but not as beautiful as you. Oh, but isn't that beautiful? And then
Yes,
they get
it's-
attacked.
They're doing that, yes. They do that a few times, and then they get attacked. Just to show that the turkeys are continuing their rampage.
Yeah, definitely. It's just such a like a silly thing.
The boys and their families take Marvin to a buffet. And I think that, I mean, we were talking about this a little bit earlier. I think that this was just to show Marvin, to like take him, almost
Take
like
him out and like a welcome.
like, let's take him somewhere, something that would be like, he'd be like in awe of.
Sure.
Which is a buffet, an American buffet. Because
this food would be so horrible for this kid.
Oh, he'd be shitting bricks.
He'd be so sick. It actually might
He'd
like
be
really
terribly
hurt
sick.
him.
Yeah. Yeah. Because it would just be so rich for him. Like, he'd have to
Yeah.
work up to this.
Right. Well, they always
But
say
I
that
get-
when you're like in a starving state, you can't just like devour too much food or it could kill you. So it's like interesting because it's just like, yeah, you definitely would just be like, here's like some really simple meals, not like
Yeah.
here's this American rich ass food that's gonna like just make you feel ill.
But this is South Park.
Of
So,
course.
of course.
Well, he doesn't really
And
eat either, so
He doesn't really eat either, so, like, Cartman explains to him the concept of appetizers. I do enjoy the fact that Starvin Marvin becomes disgusted and horrified
Well,
by the gluttony and excess
exactly.
of the buffet. Yeah, he
Exactly,
is
'cause
like,
they're, like,
what
throwing away
is
food.
this? Yeah. Because it would just be unheard of for him. Now, I don't throw. Rachel can attest to the fact that I am a cheap man.
this is very true.
Especially and food is no exception. I do not like wasting any food. If I cannot finish
No,
the
I'm
plate
not
at
a
a
big fan
restaurant,
of wasting food either.
I know some people that don't do what I do though, where it's like, or you would do, where it's like, nope, you gotta save the leftovers.
Well, yeah,
We're gonna
that's
get
your
through them all.
lunch.
Yeah.
That's your lunch
Some
for the
people
next
just
day, or like another like
let-
lunch and a half.
Let the server take it back and stuff. The biggest problem I would have is like on a date, because like it's hard to ask for a to go on a date.
Oh, I never had an
That's,
issue with that.
Yeah, but you're a girl. It's different. As a guy, it feels like a, oh, you couldn't finish it kind of thing. You almost have to like get something really light on the first couple of dates before they get your personality.
I guess so. I guess if
Because like otherwise, the girl's like taking a to-go bag. I guess it depends. Now, if the girl is for me, she'll be right on board with it. But that's
that's true. Maybe that's a good way to weed out the people, Kevin. You go on a
Get
date,
that
you
to-go.
get your to-go box and see how they react.
That's right.
Also, is your girl going to get a salad or is she going to get an actual meal? Does that matter?
I don't care. It doesn't matter.
Whatever the hell she wants to eat is totally fine.
Yeah, I don't care. She can be vegan. She can be a meat eater. I don't give a fuck. As long as she doesn't care what I eat, I don't give a shit what she eats. So, the whole table laughs at Cartman's joke about Kenny's family being poor, which I thought was also funny because, like, again, they're like trying to, like, this whole thing is subtle.
It's subtle and not
commentary.
Yeah.
It is. It is kind of subtle enough commentary. I also like that because they haven't figured out how to frame a circular table or a square table. They're all eating
the Last Supper style.
Last Supper style. Yeah. We get one of Cartman's running gags as well here because Starvin Marvin is like gonna go touch the pot pie, and Cartman goes, "No, Starvin Marvin, this is my pot pie," and then he's like, maybe I'll just take a little bit of your peach cobbler.
Because Stan tells him you're supposed to share.
Yeah.
And then Cartman goes, oh yeah, so you should share your pie with me. And it's like, God damn it, Cartman.
Marvin picks up pretty quickly that Cartman is, like, the worst of us.
Yeah, pretty much.
No, Starvin Marvin, that's my pet pie. Cartman, you butt pipe. This is the time of year you're supposed to share. Oh yeah, you're right. Are you gonna eat all of your peach cobbler? No, you don't want all that. Why don't you share it with me? No? Just have it over here. Let me just have some of that.
Back at school, Mr. Garrison is disappointed at the canned food drive because they've only collected 3 cans of creamed corn, and Kenny's family is going to have a pretty corny Thanksgiving.
And then he laughs at his own joke.
Yes, very, very much. The boys brought in Starvin Marvin for show and tell, and he tries to take the corn. So then Cartman's like, "No, Marvin, this is Kenny's creamed corn." And so he does the same bit.
Yeah, they're really going after Kenny in this one. Kenny just kind of lets it happen.
Kenny gets it, yeah, pretty bad about being
He gets it
poor
real
in this one.
bad.
I think, again, because part of the theme of this episode is the phoniness
Oh yeah.
of some humanitarianism.
Well, because
Folks
like
at home,
even
you should be doing good, and you should be giving your time
year
and money and
round.
effort. There's definitely some people that do it just for clout or whatever.
Yeah. Well, that's like even
Or-
when like, Wendy, like you said, like Wendy at the beginning, she says you have to be nice to like. It's something about this time of year is when you should care about people who can't. eat.
Yeah.
So it's like it's not even like like this is like a time where you're supposed to be like thinking about and like actually helping people and blah blah blah. It's like no, this is the only time of year you're supposed to think about those people who don't eat food.
Well, yeah, like if they would have said at the very least this time of year is,
Right.
but it's like, no, this is when you are actually supposed to think about them, yeah.
Right.
Well, and that's where it's like, is it just that, like, there's that phoniness of humanitarianism where people do it to feel good about themselves, and they really are kind of looking down upon the people that they're helping.
Yeah.
At the same time, they're not really
Kenny.
viewing it as, like Kenny. Like, they're making fun of Kenny.
They're making fun of Kenny, but also
Yeah.
saying, but see, like, we're collecting these things for you, but you're poor and you can't do these things. But
Yeah.
hey, we're doing this for you. Like, it's,
Yeah.
It's very, yeah, I don't even know how to explain it now.
Just kind of how it is how people kind of act. I mean,
It's true.
they're poking at that. They're definitely poking at do-gooders. Like, that's part of South Park's MO, right? Like, they're gonna poke at everybody, and they're
Right.
poking at people that are still trying to do good. Garrison, surprisingly to me, actually realizes that the fact that they have Starvin Marvin is wrong, and that they shouldn't have Starvin Marvin.
Like, why is he here? Like,
Yeah. So he's like, I'm gonna call the Red Cross to try to fix all of this.
Right. All the other kids, though, do want to adopt a child as well, which is very interesting.
They're like, oh, that'd be fun to just have this little African child around.
Yeah.
So they're like, we'll get our own Starvin Marvins. The boys are taken to the principal's office, and she tries to explain to them, and this gets back to the point that we were making too, where she says that you're not supposed to care about these kids or think about them or have them in your life, I think is the phrase that she uses.
Yeah.
You're just supposed to send money once in a while, and then every once in a while they send back a letter.
Yeah, because then she even says, like, I send my $5 a month, and then, like, she has the watch or whatever, and
Yeah.
and it's like...
But the boys then question it in the way where it's like, well, he's here now, why can't he just stay? He's already here, what's the problem?
Mm-hmm.
And her response is just like, well, it's not normal for him to stay. Like, he can't stay because it's just, this isn't where he belongs. And that's where she's like, gets defensive, and she's like, look, I send my $5 a month.
Mm-hmm.
So the point again is like, what's the problem? Like, if he can stay, like,
if he can, if he wants to.
oh, because
then...
because they're like, well, kids can't take care of another kid.
Yeah,
And they're
that's
like,
their
well,
whole
why don't you
point.
take care of them then?
Oh, yeah. That's right. She
And
said
she's like,
she doesn't want to... She can't.
She doesn't want to.
Yeah, she...
Yeah.
Well, no, she can't. She doesn't have time for that, and she already gives her $5 a month, so...
Right, yeah. If the kids, if somebody's willing to take care of them, no. You just give them the $5 and let them...
And let them
let them
stay
be
in their...
Yeah.
The way that they live.
Mephisto has brought in Chef to the
Well, Chef is the only
genetics-
one who's going to listen to him.
And that's exactly why I brought him in. Like, Chef at this point he's been ready for the zombie apocalypse.
That's
he
right.
knows about aliens. He
Mhm.
knew about Scuzzlebutt. So, like, Chef's the go-to guy in this
That's
case. I thought it was funny that he just goes, what is this? And not even the Vanessa Redgrave part, but the, this is turkey DNA? Like Chef can identify turkey DNA sight on sound.
Of course. Well, they look like turkeys, but then, spirally.
Yes.
So, of course, it's easy to spot turkey DNA.
So Mephisto and Chef are going to go warn the town about the mutant turkeys. In the meantime, Marvin is watching television at Cartman's house, because Cartman's got him for the week. And the feds come in to take Starvin Marvin back. So they're asking him, excuse me, little boy, is there a little African child that was brought here by mistake?
Yep.
And at this point, Marvin's like, kind of want to stick this out a little longer. And
Yes.
this Cartman guy sucks. So he just points at Eric.
I'm also wondering if he wants him to go so he gets to walk in his shoes type of deal. I want you to go
that would be,
see what it's like.
That'd be a heck of a plan by Marvin.
Just
I
saying.
thought it was... I mean, I like that idea. I think he's just doing it of like, I'm going to stick around a little
No,
bit
screw
longer.
this kid. I want to stay.
And Cartman sucks, so I'll send
Yes.
him back. But I like your idea of like trying to teach Cartman a lesson.
A little
too.
bit, yeah.
That does not work, but...
Of course not, because it's Cartman.
So the feds like they put him in a sack.
They do!
Which is pretty funny. And then they give Starvin Marvin the watch. They're like, here's your watch, by the way. And I laughed. I actually audibly laughed at this part because Marvin just goes, sweet.
Yes,
Like,
he copies Cartman.
he does Cartman sweet.
Hello there, little boy. We're looking for a starving African child who was accidentally sent here instead of a Takeo sports watch.
Hey! Hey, what's going on? Let go of me! Hey, kick you in the nuts!
Here's your sports watch, son. Sorry for the mix-up.
Sweet.
Because he's learning English based on Cartman.
This is true. Oh yeah, because he learned the word appetizer when they went to the buffet. He said appetizer.
So he was learning how to talk from Cartman.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. At the food drive, they've decided
So stupid.
So like, I wonder if these things are still around. I remember there was a little like amusement park for kids.
Yes.
Where if it was your birthday, you could
Yes.
go into. I don't know if this is a thing around the
Where
world.
you
or not.
like
I'm
grab
sure,
the papers and like the money and stuff and
Yeah. So you could grab like it was basically a phone booth, and they would turn it on and there'd be this like gust of wind that would shoot all of this like dollar bills in the air and stuff.
Right.
And you would walk in and whatever you could grab from the air and like keep in your hand you could keep. And it was always like done with cash. Trey and Matt said on the commentary that they did that a couple of years for like their holiday party, where like everybody would like throw $1 in and then they would throw in like $100 or something like that.
Sure.
And then like somebody would just get to do it, and then they got like a little bit of flack for it from Comedy Central or something because they said like Trey and Matt just want to watch poor people like grab money, and
Wow,
and of course
okay.
on the commentary they go which we did, but somebody got $70, and they were like, yeah, I'd go in there for $70. I don't care what it is. So anyway, they're doing that, which I don't remember what that thing is called, but that's what it was.
Yeah, I don't know what it.
I
like,
wonder
it's-
if it still exists. I want to do it.
They used
still.
to have them
like
like game shows and stuff too.
Yeah, I never did it. I kind of want.
They had it
to,
at like that
do
one
it
little
as an
amusement
adult.
park that we used to live by, and
Yeah, if they did it at work, if like that was the way to get your like, to get like a bonus or like a Christmas bonus or whatever,
My
like I would do
God.
it. Put me in the fucking tube. I'll try to grab the money. I don't care.
shoving it down your pants and everything.
Yeah, I'll degrade myself. I don't fucking care. But instead of cash, they have cans of food. Which
Yes.
I think would hurt like hell because
Well,
they would just start spinning around.
Yes,
in
it would
there.
be spinning around and smacking you. You'd. Oh my god! I mean, obviously they wouldn't even probably be picked up by the air. If it
No,
was,
they
then
wouldn't.
so
No,
would you
it would have to be like a fucking tornado to pick
Yes.
these things up.
Now I think they
before-
do have those at museums where you can go in and you can feel what a tornado.
Oh yeah, we've been
wind
to one of
feels
those.
like.
We didn't go. Did we ever
I
go?
don't think I've ever been inside one. I don't think I ever.
Because we went a couple of years ago. You and I went into like the tornado exhibit at
Yes.
the museum, but
Yeah.
it didn't like do the gust of. Oh no, maybe
They
we just
showed
didn't
what
walk
it
through
looks
that.
like.
Yeah,
But then there's
yeah.
also a spot that you could like go inside the booth and you could feel the wind. And it's like, well, but yeah. So like that's what it kind of reminded me of was like it has to be that strong to
Yeah,
pick up cans and
that's
you
strong,
with that
for sure.
too.
Mhm. Before they can do the can drive
Mm-hmm.
event, the turkeys attack. Chef and Mephisto are like, we warned you, Mayor, and the Mayor's like, well, we set up a bit of a protocol here, and the protocol is just the defense squad, which is Jimbo and Ned
Right.
with their rifles.
Yep.
And they just start gunning down some of the turkeys.
Yeah,
But
they just go
Mephisto
hunting.
is, yeah. But Mephisto, I thought there was a missed opportunity for a joke for them to accidentally shoot like, I guess they need Kenny for later on.
True.
So
yeah.
they couldn't kill Kenny here, so never mind. And it's not probably as good as how Kenny dies later. So Mephisto's like, we need more. Like, they're just going to keep multiplying. They're going to keep growing. So it can't just be these two rednecks with their guns. Marvin is watching Terrence and Phillip.
Yep. The
He's
next
he's
episode.
He's taken Cartman's place. Yeah,
Pretty
because this is like a
much.
14-part Thanksgiving special. There's a couple of really funny parts in this. One is that the commercial comes back on, except for this time Cartman is just yelling in the background
Yes.
for help.
So it's almost like it's live. Like these are live
Yeah, it's like a
commercials
live commercial.
where she's talking about these kids and Cartman is just running around like wanting to go home and said something about this sucks, get me out of here. Like
And then Eric's mom asks Marvin if he wants some cheesy poofs.
You want some more cheesy poofs, hon?
Yeah, I want a cheesy poof.
Okay.
Sweet.
A
with
more
the
African
accent, yeah.
And
And
then
wanting
he
the
does
cheesy
a-
poofs.
And then he does another sweet.
It's hilarious. I love it.
It's
Because
so
he learned
good.
these phrases from Cartman.
Yeah. Cartman is being Cartman
Yes.
in impoverished Ethiopia.
Yep.
So he's like
that's all you have to
trying-
know.
So yeah, I mean that speaks for itself. Picture Cartman in Ethiopia, stranded, and you got yourself a scene. I like when the Ethiopians can't figure out what he's trying to say.
Right.
So he just goes, "Well, screw you guys," or "Screw you too."
Yeah, that's great. Just screw you too. Because it's like, well, no, they don't understand you. You don't understand them. It's like, it's going to be a little confusing.
Kenny finally goes in and gets a can of green beans. Out of all of that, he only got one can.
Yeah,
but at
one.
the same
I mean,
time, it's
that's
like,
what I would expect.
It would be hard to grab more than one can in there.
Right. And I think everybody just expected him to die in that machines. But he doesn't. He doesn't. Surprisingly.
This is one of my favorite moments. I couldn't remember which episode it was in. I wasn't even sure if it was in this season, so I'm glad that we got to this moment. So Chef decides that he has to tell everyone to prepare for this turkey fight. And in the middle of him doing this, he just stops dead. Because Mephisto's little mini-me thing is on the stage with him.
Yes.
Go to your homes and arm your... What the hell are you supposed to be anyway?
That's not important right now.
No! What the hell is this little thing supposed to be?
It's such a great moment, and they time it so perfectly between
Yes.
Chef looking down at this little mini-me clone
Mini-me. Yeah.
and the little clone looking back up at Chef.
Right.
It just goes
And
back
then
and forth
and the
between
silence.
them. Yeah, and the silence. I love that moment. It's such a South Park type
Oh,
of
yeah.
humor that they just let the moment linger for a second there.
Right.
He does tell everyone, though, to go home and get tools to fight the turkeys.
Mm-hmm.
Cartman is hungry, and he finds the Red Cross, and he asks the Red Cross for fried chicken and a side of mashed potatoes, please.
Of course.
But the Red Cross say that they are leaving because they don't have enough
Because they're
funding.
out of food. Yeah.
Yeah, they're out of funding, they're out of food, and so they have to leave. But they throw him a watch. So he gets
course.
the watch that he wanted, and he's all
There it
pissed
is.
off. So I thought this was interesting. If you're watching it on the Max, you actually get the effect. If you're watching it like on the DVD, like I did,
Mm-hmm.
it looks really weird because you already get the box screen
Right.
on the DVDs. It goes to widescreen.
It does.
Because they're doing a Braveheart. They clearly just wanted to do like a Braveheart riff. So it goes to widescreen to do this like epic battle.
Yes.
So all the townspeople have come back with different weaponry,
Yes. Of various things.
like rakes and brooms and
I think there's a
pitchforks and
lamp.
stuff.
There's like a wood with nail in it type of thing, and a baguette.
Yeah.
I think is somebody's holding.
Ah, a baguette. That'll work. You let a baguette sit out long enough, you could
That's
kill
true.
somebody with
Could
a
become a
baguette.
bat.
Yeah. I've bitten down into breads that could kill a man. So Chef, because they're like, there's too many of them. Like, how are we supposed to stop all these turkeys? So Chef decides to go full Braveheart. And he's
Yes.
on a horse. He's painted the blue and white
Yep.
stripes.
He's wearing a kilt.
Yeah, so for those folks at home that have never seen Braveheart, that's what this scene is. It's just a full-on Braveheart parody. And then the joke, of course, is that the turkeys are doing the same thing. So they've got a turkey that's dressed up as Braveheart, and he's doing a gobble, gobble, gobble. And I guarantee that's what the Jerry Seinfeld thing would have
Yes.
been.
He would have been doing the speech. It would have been great. It would have been great.
Yeah, Jerry Seinfeld's agent.
Yeah,
What's the
screw
matter
that
with you?
agent.
Yeah, you ruined a great fucking moment.
How dare you?
Idiot.
How dare
A
you look
battle-
out for Jerry's well-being? How dare you?
So a battle ensues, but in the meantime, Cartman has basically collapsed in the middle of like a dirt road in Ethiopia. He's like, "My God, why have you forsaken me?" Because
He was kind of starting to learn. He was doing like I'm sorry I wasn't sensitive. And I take
yeah.
it back,
yeah,
and then he
I wonder how
throws
much
it
he
all
meant
away.
it. Yeah,
Well, the
Well,
second
'cause
he gets what he wants,
as is usual for
Right.
Cartman. So he kind of looks up and he sees that there is a building there that he hasn't like spotted before.
Sure.
And because I don't know how long Cartman's been there, but like he's already, he's Cartman. So
It could have been like a few hours. It could have been a couple of days. I don't know, because it's Cartman.
But he goes into this building and there's a bunch of food in there. I like that the score kind of perks up and
Yes.
Cartman's like, snacky cakes, and like all this stuff is in there
Yep.
just in droves for him. And we find that Sally Struthers has been hoarding a bunch of food.
Right.
She's eating cake in there. She's getting fanned.
Yeah, fanned by a couple of Ethiopian like people, and
So there's a little bit of back and forth, and then Cartman decides to take matters into his own hands because he leaves the building and he shouts to like the village that he's by, and he's like, Sally Struthers is holding out on us. She's got a
Right.
bunch of food in here. Sally Struthers like freaks out about it and starts like trying to devour as much food as she can. 'Cause
Right.
She knows that they're gonna
bust in there, and
they're gonna take her down. I think the original intent was probably that they were gonna like eat her or
oh
something.
my gosh, that would have been dark.
Yeah, I think it would have been too dark. So in the battle, there's a bunch of different things happening. There's different. I particularly enjoyed the part where Ike decapitates a turkey.
Of course, yeah.
I liked that little moment. The turkeys peck Kenny's eyes out, and that's how they kill Kenny.
Yep.
This whole time, Marvin's just looking on from like a hillside.
Right.
Like,
Yeah, he's just kind of like watching.
What is this? Yeah.
Is this what they do every year? They go to battle with the turkey? Is this what Thanksgiving's about?
Is this what Thanksgiving is? Yeah, sort of. Okay, now that you've brought this up,
Okay.
maybe this is what we should be doing.
Ooh.
We handicap the turkey somehow, and then if you want that turkey,
I think turkeys are pretty damn strong already, but yeah.
they are, and they're vicious as shit.
You actually have to fight a turkey?
You got to fight a turkey. You can take
We're
that
gonna have the
turkey
turkey
down.
army versus the humans, and then...
That's right.
Good
Yeah.
lord.
You earn that turkey. Now, turkey is pretty good. I'll give it to the turkey. It tastes pretty good.
Yes. Especially when it's
But
made well and it's, like, nice.
Yeah.
Dry
But
turkey isn't very good.
South Park will do a few turkey-related Thanksgiving episodes. Gobbles. You remember Gobbles,
I do
Rachel?
remember Gobbles, yes.
Yeah,
Gobbles.
where they do take... Yeah, exactly. They do take on the... They do a scene where they show you how those turkeys are treated that you're probably eating for Thanksgiving, where they just saw off a million heads at once.
I mean,
It's one of those...
okay, sad story, but last Thanksgiving I did see the truck of turkeys.
Oh, no.
It was really, like, sad, and I didn't like it, because it was just, like, a big truck, and it had a bunch of holes in it. The worst part to me was that they didn't have it covered, because I don't think they were dead yet, and feathers were coming out of it. And it was horrifying to me that that's how they were treating the animal, like, before we ate them, because I'm just like,
Yeah, that's my thing with it, too. I wish... I wish and I hope.
Least. Like,
And maybe there
give
is
them a
something
good
out
life
there.
before
like,
they die, like something.
Exactly. I just want them to have a good life before they die. I'm not going to stop eating the meat because it's too
No.
damn good. I'm sorry, animals.
No, and
But-
typically, like, I don't think that's like the norm. Like,
like how they're
animal
treated?
endangered. Like,
Yeah.
I don't think that's like typical anymore. But
Yeah. Well, that's all I ask. I just want them to have a good life before they're... I know that they're being raised to slaughter, and that's still...
it's still like hurtful and just
Bad.
it feels bad.
I just
but
want
I mean, at the
something
same time,
more humane.
yeah,
Even if it costs more, fine. But like,
I want a
let me know that,
happy ass
like,
turkey.
yeah, a happy ass turkey is going to be way better to eat than a stressed out turkey.
That's right.
You don't want to eat a stressed out turkey. That meat's going to taste terrible.
Yeah, that's why I think
gonna
they
be all
actually probably
stringy.
do. But I kind of wish there was
So-
a company called the Happy Ass Turkey, and that's what they do is that like they like
Oh, no,
pamper the
that's
turkeys,
interesting.
and then
Yeah.
that's how they.
You still... what's the score of the game, folks at home? How's it going?
Is it going well? Is your team winning?
So anyway, where are we? The battle ends. The last 3 turkeys are getting away, and Ned and Jimbo shoot the last turkeys, and the humans won. So there's a bunch of dead turkeys all over the place. And some dead people, too, of course, because it's South Park, and you need to have bodies strewn about. And the feds come back because they realize that they grabbed the wrong person.
Yes.
So they're like...
And they find the right kid this time.
Well, because this time, they're like, has anybody seen this child? And they show a picture of Starvin Marvin.
Right.
Is it Bar Brady that says, oh, that could be 100 different kids in this town? Which is
it is.
A great little joke. But then Marvin comes up and says,
he's
hey,
pretty much like, hey,
me.
I'm here. Like, I don't really need this turkey versus human war affair that's going on.
Yeah. I like that the turn is that Marvin is like, I'd rather be starving at
home with my family and my friends
in Ethiopia than in this fucked up country where
they throw away food and they fight turkeys to the death. Like, what is this? But
yeah, I think it's funny.
But as he's leaving, he does pick up a turkey.
He does pick up a turkey, and he gets an idea.
I do also like that Kyle likes him more than Cartman. I mean, all of us do. Like, all of us do.
Yeah, Kyle's upset because he's like, oh, I kind of liked him more than Cartman. And Kyle and Stan tell you their lesson of the day, which is that even like the images on TV are real people, and it can be easy to forget that they are real people.
Which is a good lesson. That's a good thing to understand, is that people are real.
And it's something that we've completely forgotten about, even worse now because of the internet, where it's like you're bombarded with information about a million, billion people, and you can't... It's very, very hard for your brain to decipher that that's a real person, and
right.
You have to treat them like a real person. It's just nearly impossible to be able to do for a lot of people to like empathize at that high of a level.
Right.
I don't do it, a lot either. It's, something you have to work on. But it's a fair lesson. Cartman, back in Ethiopia, is excited because they're like, yeah, we made a mistake. We'll let you get back home. And Cartman's like, great, perfect. Get out of my way. I'm American. I love that he says. And Marvin comes back. Trey on the commentary said that his mom cried at this part.
Oh.
And he was like, she actually cried at the South Park episode, and he said, yeah, so she realized that we could actually like touch some hearts depending on how we do things and still be South Park.
Right.
Because Marvin gets off the plane. You want to tell what happens here?
Yes. One, there's a woman with an Ike-looking baby, which I just thought was really interesting.
I thought that was funny too.
I didn't know if that was like them trying to figure out like, oh, okay, this is how we're gonna draw babies, and then
babies, yeah.
And then they're like, wait, no,
and then
this is just Canadians.
Yeah.
Marvin gets off the plane, tells them to open the back, and out comes all of the turkeys. Like, look what I brought. I brought us food and like a feast, like a meal.
They're gonna have a Thanksgiving feast of themselves.
And they like are like praising him, and they're all excited that he's home and that he brought that with. And what's her face is hogtied and
hogtied. Yeah, it has an apple in her mouth. See, like if they took it like a little bit further to like have like her on like a pit.
That's true.
I could see them
think maybe that's what she's like tied to. Then it's not just her tied up. It's she's like being roasted like a pig.
Yeah, exactly.
I think that's what it is.
It's a Vince McMahon laugh. But yeah, like Marvin gets to be the hero, and then in a bizarre ending scene.
Yeah.
I don't know why they included this. They could have just ended it on Marvin being the hero.
Yeah, because now it's like, they want it to be sad.
They wanted it to be like a joke, and I think that they were like, that's too positive for South Park. So there's an ending scene where Kenny's family is getting ready to eat the green beans.
Yes.
And they're doing grace, and then at the end, Kenny's mom is like, does anybody have a can opener? Yeah. And they're like, shit. And then it's because they don't have a can opener. And that's how the episode ends.
Do they ever bring back Kenny's brother? That's like...
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. In fact...
Like, I don't remember him having siblings, so that was like...
At some point, he also has a little sister, but that's more when we get into the Mysterion days.
Okay, I kind of remember the little sister a little bit more. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, but he always has a like little brother and little sister, I think.
Sure.
So, that is the end of Starvin Marvin. Rachel,
yes.
What did you think of Starvin Marvin?
I do think this one's enjoyable. I think it's kind of it does like heavy-handed push like issues with certain stuff, like you said. Like it is subtle, but at the same time it's not. So at least you're gonna pick up on it, at least what they're talking about, which is really nice. But at the same time, it is funny. There are like silly jokes that you can laugh at, and it ends nice. Marvin does a good thing for his family. Yeah.
Yeah. You know, for me, like, this isn't as good as Pink Guy, but I totally understand what you're saying, and I get your point. Like, it's still enjoyable. It's got good bits. It's still funny. It's still fun. Marvin is a good character.
Marvin is a good character. He's funny.
Like, I'm glad that they did bring him back. They should have brought him back a little bit more. I wish that he'd come back in like the modern times.
Yeah,
too.
that would be fun.
He's a good conduit for showing just how much of an ass Cartman can be and how much of an ass America can be.
Right.
But yeah, like you said, like, it's not subtle, but it's still decently subtle enough in like what you can take away from it as far as humanitarianism, excess, gluttony, how people treat
actually caring
others.
for each other's.
Yeah. So it's got its moments. It's a good episode. Seeing Cartman walk around in agony in Ethiopia is funny too.
Right.
So yes,
get a
good
little
episode there.
comeuppance, even though it doesn't change him too much.
Yeah, good stuff in the Starvin Marvin episode. Happy Thanksgiving to you all that are coming back to listen again
Enjoy
to this
your
episode on Thanksgiving. Enjoy the turkey. Enjoy your pumpkin pie. Enjoy your peach
have
cobbler.
a piece for me. I love pumpkin pie.
I love pumpkin pie. One year our Munch Madness is going to be pies.
Oh, it has to be. It has to be.
Yeah. We'll do that at some talk about gluttony. Our Munch Madness is just a celebration of that too. Have a good Thanksgiving. We will continue though here on this Shelf Life episode. We're going to the next holiday.
Yep.
Well, you'll be coming right back here in a month if you're listening to this on Thanksgiving, because we are going to learn about our friend and Rachel's favorite character in the pantheon of fiction.
Don't tell them.
Mr. Hanky, the Christmas Pooh. When we come back after a word from our short sponsor. When we come back after a word from our sponsor.
I hope it's a short sponsor. I hope it's the little man in the bikini.